10-0.
Yes, sir.
Could it be any better?
Well, I mean, there's always things to nitpick and be frustrated about or want to improve on, but to be able to be, I think, counted this weekend, I think there's 34 teams in the state from 6A to 6-man who are undefeated going to the playoffs, and to be one of those is it is super special, and it's a tribute to first of all, I feel like the Lord has blessed us tremendously just with good health, and we've battled a lot of ups and downs this season, and for us to come through unscathed as far as wins and losses is concerned is a huge blessing, and but it's also a tribute to our seniors. We have 14 of them who are playing on the field who have
great leadership.
Yeah, great leadership and bought in. A lot of those guys we've had on this show, and without them, this thing wouldn't work. And then, of course, contributions by our younger guys, like the two we have on the couch with me today, has also been a big factor. And then, of course, our coaching staff. Those guys have been unbelievable and just continue to help our kids get better each day and each week. And so, all of that to say, we're thrilled to be in this position that we're in.
Coach, first-year coach. How many first-year coaches come in 10-0? I mean, that's a great accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
But this baby right here,
this
baby right here, that does a lot of talk, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's we talked about it all the time. District championships are hard to come by. There were several years when I was at Pleasant Grove, we didn't win the district championship because we're playing Gilmer, and even last year, we win it at Pleasant Grove, and Gilmer goes on and wins the state championship as the second place team. And I was a part of a team that finished third in our district. We went to the state quarterfinals one year. So, sometimes those district championships are pretty elusive and can be difficult to get. So, yeah, for us to be able to do that and win it outright and undefeated is pretty cool.
Coach, and when I asked you this, I know what your initial response will be 10-0, but coming in the first-year coach, what were your real achievements? I mean, what were you thinking you possibly could do?
We wrote, when the schedule came finalized in February, we wrote it out on the dry erase board here in my office, and we didn't have all our coaching staff here, but we're just kind of looking at it, and we'd also written out our kids that we had and maybe what position they might be in, and we thought that, if I'm being just completely honest, we thought, a 7-3 and 8-2 something, would be possible, just not knowing, what kind of how our kids would respond to everything, and if we're going to stay healthy, and what are the other teams going to have, and I don't think any of us were thinking 10-0, although we knew we would be talented and have a chance to be really good. But that changed, once we kind of got into the season and started rolling, I think we as a coaching staff realized that we have a really special group, and these guys are, the sky's the limit as far as they're concerned. And so they definitely changed our minds on that from when we were first looking at things back in February.
You, Jerry Bennett, and Antoine Jimerson are the only 10-0 coaches in the history of the Jefferson football program. So that's a great accomplishment. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, now we have some technical difficulties, but we had the 4 captains come in. I didn't talk about your coach of the week for a reason. It was so they could tell you how they felt about it, and we lost some of the sound there, but the 4 guys came in and they praised you rather heavily. You didn't get to hear it, but they wanted to do that, so that's why we didn't discuss that on it. And by the way, now we can say congratulations for Coach of the Week last week.
Thank you.
And I'll be glad, when we come back here and we're 16-0, and you're the Coach of the Year. We'll be looking good. I know you guys are going to go out and continue what you've started, and each and every week, once you get to this level, things change a little bit. The competition is top notch all the way to the brutal end. So we'll be looking forward to that. So who do we have here?
So we have number 11, Travis Gray, who's become one of our more sure-handed receivers, and he's probably I think him and Chris Love kind of switch places every week as far as who's got the most reception yards for the team, and Travis kind of operates under the radar a little bit.
Kind of a silent assassin.
That's right. But he's one of those guys who just, when we need a catch in a big time moment, he's someone we usually go to because, I know Tomias trusts him. He runs really great routes. He's really smart and savvy and, understands the game within the game. A lot of our routes are based on what the defense is doing, and, that's going to dictate how we run our route. And so he understands that. And so that's why finds himself open a lot, because he knows where to sit down or where to press it. And so, we're really proud of Travis. And then down there in the end, we have another sophomore, and that's Taylor McCurry, who really stepped up this last week and had a really good game and had his first start of the year. And that was a pressure situation for him, and he responded really well. And so we've been really proud of his growth this season as well.
We were talking earlier, his dad was our quarterback many years ago.
Yep.
And did a heck of a job, too.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, when you heard we had a new coaching staff come in, what were your initial thoughts? You don't know anything about these guys. What were the things you were thinking? We got a new coach now. What's he going to be like? What ran through your mind?
Really, how would we be this year? How would they be? Would they be intensive, wanting us to work out? Do they want to be here? That's really what's going through my head whenever they first came.
I thought it would bring a lot of change to our culture, probably new coaching staff. So I was just ready to, welcome them in with open arms.
So when they came and they laid out the program for you guys, what did you think?
See, I was still in basketball, but when I came and watched them work out one day, and I was like, man, I want to be in here. It was just a lot of energy about it, and I just was like, man, I can't wait to get over here.
When Coach T came off in the gym and he gave us that big speech, I was just intentionally right there. I was just bought in on everything he was saying. I was ready for football season.
Is there anyone out of the whole entire group that has not bought into this? Because if they are, I haven't seen them.
I think everybody loves it.
And you guys kind of help the coaches and the captains. If you see someone doing something wrong, Tigray, I know you'll get on them in a heartbeat.
Yes, sir.
And I imagine Mr. McCurry will too, but we haven't had much of that this year, have we?
No, sir. He got us right. He got our minds right.
So what do you think our ultimate goal is here?
Just listen to everything they say, because they not telling us nothing wrong. They want the best for us, so.
Excellent.
Same thing, yeah.
Okay, you guys are both sophomores this year. You started out with the Little League program, and of course, it's not hard in the Little League program to be outstanding, because usually it's the fastest kids and blah, blah, blah. But when you get to high school, it starts leveling out a little bit. And you have more things on your mind than just going to play football. You've got grades you've got to take care of, you've got relationships. I know you got a girlfriend. So those things come into play as well. How hard is it to stay motivated on what you're trying to do with the football program?
Shoot, that's 10% of what's on my mind. Football, basketball, sports, and grades. That's what's mainly on my mind.
What's the top of all of those?
My grades.
Bingo. Now you're talking real stuff now. How about you?
I feel like it's not really hard at all, because I got my mind set on the right things.
And you got your mom and your dad both get on your butt if you don't, just like Tigray does.
That too.
The Curry bunches, they're a rough bunch too.
Yeah.
And then if you fail at this, you're gonna be out helping your uncle Courtney doing the gardening for a while, and that's hard work, isn't it? Coach, going into this thing, we when you finish high, you typically draw low. So we've got a team no team can be underlooked. Because who knows, Mineola, they may come out and it's a surprise.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, well, and we talked about this today in our meeting earlier this morning about, that they've won a state championship recently. I think it was 2014, 15, somewhere around there.
They were there 3 years, I think. Knocked on the door twice.
Yeah, and so they're a program and a community that's that's used to winning, and this has been in their coach's words, down year for them, but they are they're fired up to be there, and so when you're playing a team who no one's given them a chance. And they have nothing to lose, so to speak, then that's dangerous. But again, another thing we talked about this morning was that whatever pressure there is on us, pressure is a privilege, and you earn the right to have pressure on yourself, because the teams that aren't in the playoffs this week, there is no pressure on them. And so because of how we've handled this regular season, people are going to put pressure on us and expect us to go far, and so we embrace that and understand that, and so this week is just the first step in that. And someone asked me this morning about what it takes to make a deep playoff run and all that, and I said that it's those teams that just continue to get better, because there's teams who get in the postseason and they're a totally different team from what they played in the regular season, because they just kept working and kept getting better, and they got healthy and kids started figuring it out. But there's also those teams that regress because they get complacent, maybe they have an injury or two, they start letting things slip, and so then those teams kind of set themselves up for an early exit. And so we're trying to be that first team, the one that's continuing to improve each day and find things to get better at, because we don't have to look very hard to do that. We got plenty of things that we can fix.
Coach, during the Tatum game, Tatum always plays us hard, and they're knuckleheads anyway, and we love to beat them. But I saw you lose a little composure there a little bit at the end of the game, where you had to wake some of the guys up that obviously were walking around asleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different, sometimes you have different approaches. I mean, we go into halftime of the LE game, and probably it was a little more calm than normal. I think the games where I really get amped up are the games where I feel like we're lacking in some energy or some motivation or enthusiasm.
100%.
Yeah, and I felt like that was the case in some regard. On Friday night, where and we were really proactive. These guys can tell you, we talked about that on Thursday in our meeting about what are some potential things that can kind of keep us from playing our best. And we talked about the weather. We talked about the change in the schedule. We talked about how the fact that there was nothing postseason wise that was going to be decided Friday night. Everything was already decided, whether we won or lost. And so sometimes, and then the emotions that come with playing on senior night, all those things can kind of sort of make it where it's hard to lock in and get ready to play a football game. And so I think that was what was going on. And, again, Coach Keeling and his staff, they did a really great job of doing what we said they were going to do, and then shorten the game by holding the ball and playing keep away and limiting our offensive possessions. I think we only had 3 first half offensive possessions. And so that makes every snap of offense super important, because they don't know how many snaps they're going to get. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to get fired up, and I don't apologize for that. So.
No, nor should you. There was a time there when things were going downhill, and they probably didn't realize as much as you did. Mm-hmm. But it was good to see you get in there and kind of look like sometimes you have coaches that are like chihuahuas, but you were like a wolfhound. You were getting on them pretty good, but they responded by once you went out and said, "Hey guys, we're not done here. We still got a lot of work to do." Yeah.
It probably wasn't exactly those words, but you cleaned it up pretty good.
We've all heard them.
Yeah.
Mineola comes in 2-8, but it's really not, considering some of the, they have 4 teams in their district that are pretty good football teams.
Yeah. That's the thing is they're not going to be scared of us. They've seen Malakoff, they've seen Winsboro, and Commerce is also a very talented athletic team that looks very similar to us, just kind of on video. And so, they're not going to be intimidated by us, and we have to understand that. And they've seen really good football and played some really good football, and so that's not going to be how we're going to win this game. It's going to be executing into our max potential, and so we know that.
Well, and you can't look forward to next week, because if you do, guys, sometimes next week it doesn't come. Mm-hmm. So you got to take care of everything now.
Yeah.
Coach, anything specific you're going to work on this week, or do you have anything defensively or offensively you're going to change? Or
No, I mean, and that's one of the things that we kind of talked about in our meetings yesterday as a staff is just, we feel like we have the right guys in place. I mean, that's not an issue. And I asked the question, I said, to our coaches, I said, hey, what are some things we need to do to win a state championship? Now as we stand at the first step of this thing, and I think a couple of things we talked about was just we got to make sure everybody's healthy. So we got to be cognizant of that, of how we practice, and not practicing soft, but just taking care of our guys, because it is a battle of attrition, and the playoffs is, and you got to get your guys to the dance, and make sure that they're ready to go. And so we'll rest some guys, and from the contact aspect of it, but that's one of the things, but. So we have some guys we moved up from the JV that they'll probably get some reps in these next couple weeks, and whether it be on a special team, so you take some guys off and get them some rest in that phase of the game. And so we're kind of looking at that, like where can we put some other guys, some of these guys that we brought up, and how can we take a little bit of mileage off of these starters who are playing a bunch of football and going to be playing a bunch of football. So that means younger guys will have to step up and be ready.
Mr. McCurry, you had a few more assignments this past week than you normally have.
Yes, sir.
How did it feel being more involved in the entire defensive scheme?
It just felt like human nature to me, because I'm pretty used to playing on the field. So it just felt like when they gave me the opportunity, it was time for me to step up and don't let it go to waste.
You've been waiting for that opportunity, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, good deal. And TG, I started calling you TG3, and I thought, your dad might not appreciate that. T-Gray sounds good, because when you run up and down the field and that wind's blowing behind you and those locks of yours are flopping around, you just look so cool. Also, you're banging heads with seniors. You guys you've grown up and you've excelled in football, but from a different level than what you are now. Now you're young guys playing against some of these older guys. I mean, some of those guys you're playing against are dadgum grown men. It's a little bit different, isn't it, when you go up against a guy that's now he's 6'3" and weighs 180 versus a guy that was 5'10" and 145.
Yes, sir. There's a big difference.
How much do you weigh?
About like 140 something.
And you about the same?
About the same.
And I'm telling you, you guys are light, but you can fly. And in 2 years, the change in your bodies, and as well as your mind, it's going to be phenomenal, isn't it, Coach?
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I've always appreciated about just our kids, and this is a tribute to the youth football program here, which we'll talk about here in a second, because they got some big games coming up this weekend. But also their parents and just this community is our kids aren't intimidated. When we're going to play 7-on-7, our first game out of the gate this spring, and I think we said we had of the 14 kids, I think 9 of them or 10 of them were freshmen that day, because we had a bunch of seniors out for different things, or juniors. And we were one play away from winning that game, and those kids just expected to win, and from there on out, and that's been the case all year, whether it's a Newton or Atlanta or LE, any of those guys. Our kids are not. They don't get intimidated, and they embrace that kind of stuff. And again, that's a tribute to their parents and to the youth football program here, getting those guys ready and just teaching them, instilling that confidence and that belief in them from an early age.
Well, I mean, these guys came from those programs. Right. And let's go ahead and talk about those, because, I mean, even the 4th and 5th graders?
Yeah, so we got 3 youth football teams, and Tyler's dad coaches the 5th and 6th grade, and his brother Bryce is on that team, and they're really good, and they're undefeated, and they got a championship game on Saturday, Super Bowl, and they're playing Hallsville.
I think so.
Yeah, here in town, so everybody needs to come out and watch those guys. But then our 3rd or 4th grade team is also, they have one loss to Hallsville, who they'll be playing on Saturday for the championship. And they're coached by Tremaine Nelson and Bruce Hitchcock and Charles Whitaker. Those guys do a great job as well. And then our flag football team, coached by Rusty Malden and actually a few of our guys help out with that team as well. But all of those teams, the third and fourth grade team is the only team that's lost a game this year.
Wow.
And that's to the team they're going to play on Saturday. And so, fortunately, I'm at those games every week. My son's on the third and fourth grade team. My daughter's a cheerleader for the fifth and sixth grade team. So I love watching those kids, and it's fun to see, the future of Jefferson football, and see the guys, who have volunteered to go coach them, pour into the kids and coach them hard, and so that's all great stuff. And so we're looking forward to go out and watching them on Saturday, try to get a sweep and win a championship on all three levels.
And where's that going to be?
That's going to be at the stadium.
Here at our stadium?
Lockett Stadium.
At what time?
Third and fourth grade will start at 9, I believe, and then I think
Fifth and sixth are at 11.
Fifth and sixth is at 11, and I think the flag is at 1. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to come out and
Yeah.
support these guys while they're young, because that right there was the youth that started this whole thing
Yeah.
for this year. And
Yeah.
look at them now. They
Yeah.
got smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
I'll be glad when they have rings on their fingers. Coach, anything else you want to talk about today?
I don't think so. We're just we're excited about the opportunity to play Thursday night. I know it's a school night for everybody, but just want to invite everybody out and buy your tickets early. Those tickets are online, and they're $6 for adults, $4 for students that purchased before the game. On the day of the game, they'll all be $7. So buy your tickets early and come out and support the Bulldogs and watch these guys as we look to advance in the playoffs.
And guys, as we advance higher each level, the stadiums get bigger. You saw the Melissa Stadium.
You're putting pressure on me now. We got to go find a big stadium for.
But it does. It's amazing what you're exposed to a different level of football at that point. You are on a different level, and when the stadiums get bigger, it gets fun.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All righty, 10-0. We're looking for number 11. 10-0. Let's go.